Hi Joyce. See Joyce today. बोलो बोलो you tell me. Yeah, I know. Yeah. See, first of all, how many programs? Which class is it?
Welcome, Helen.
Hi, Nilima. You're there.
Yes.
You're at home?
Huh?
You're at home?
Yes, I am. What about you?
Me too.
Yeah. Okay.
So how's everything? How's your son, your daughters, grandchildren?
All well. Gratefully, thankfully, yeah.
I know.
I quite look forward to the session today. There's so much to.
Helen ma'am, Lily ma'am.
Hi. Hi, Evelyn.
Hi, Evelyn. Hi.
Hi.
Helen Joseph.
I wonder how many are expected today.
Thankfully, yeah.
I know.
I quite look forward to the session today. There's so much to.
Helen ma'am, Lily ma'am.
Hi.
everyone.
Hi, Evelyn.
Hi, Evelyn. Hi.
Hi. Hi, Anita.
Hi, how are you, Helen?
Hey, Anita. So, where are you? You are in college?
Dr. Anita, how are you?
Muted. Huh? Anita is muted.
We are on live, so that's why we are.
I took vaccination, I said, Helen.
Really?
Yeah, I took it on 28th.
Why? Because of comorbidity?
No, not reason. I don't have comorbidity, but I went and I took it.
How you took only above 60, no?
I am a health worker, no? I am a Niramaya Health Foundation health worker, no?
Okay.
But ethics committee asked me if they want. I said, no, I don't.
Everyone. LNG and we are on live, so all the conversation is going on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Still time, nobody has joined. Dr. Lidwin.
Can you hear me? Uh, yes, thank you. Vimla ma'am, can you please unmute yourself? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. तिथून वहां से आवाज नहीं जा रहा है. Lidul ma'am, we can start. We are ready.
Good afternoon. Sorry for being a little late. We had some technical problem. That's why the YouTube link was generated little late. So I hope all the students have joined the YouTube. If that is the case, then we can start. Sandesh?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, fine.
We can go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
A very good afternoon and a very warm welcome to our eminent speakers, Dr. Vimla Nadkarni and Dr. Helen Joseph. A very warm welcome to the moderator of this session, Dr. Nilima Mehta. Warm welcome to the principal of Roshni Nilaya, Dr. Juliet Joseph, Vice Principal, Dr. Janice Mary, HOD, MSW Department, Ms. Evelyn Benis, Professor Farida, Cecilia Vegas, IQAC Coordinator, Roshni Nilaya, Mr. Elvis Thomas, IQAC Coordinator, College of Social Work, Nirmala Niketan, members of the IQAC, members of the College Development Committee, faculty members, students and alumni of Roshni Nilaya and College of Social Work, Nirmala Niketan, and to all our guest participants. It's a great joy for us to host this webinar on challenges for social work education and the National Council for Social Work Education Bill, A Way Forward, to commemorate the World Social Work Day 2021, which was on 16th March. The World Social Work Day is a celebration that aims to highlight the achievements of social work, raise the visibility of social services for the future of societies, and defend social justice and human rights. It is the key day in the year that social workers worldwide stand together to advance a common message globally. The initiative of celebrating World Social Work Day was approved by the member organizations of the International Federation of Social Workers in 2004. The first World Social Work Day was celebrated in 2007 under the theme Social Work, Making a World of Difference. This year, the 2021 World Social Work Day theme highlights Ubuntu, I am because we are, strengthening social solidarity and global connectedness. Ubuntu is a concept and African philosophy by South African Anglican Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who fought towards seeking reconciliation and restorative justice. He defined Ubuntu as I participate, I share. Ubuntu echoes with the social work perspectives of the interconnectedness of all peoples and their environment. It speaks to the fact that we are all connected and that one can only grow and progress to the growth and progression of others. Today, we have come together to deliberate on the challenges of social work education and the National Council of Social Work Education Bill, A Way Forward. Yes, it is an important theme, especially during this pandemic period, and also when the draft National Council Bill for Social Work Education is ready and various deliberations are done to incorporate all suggestions in a democratic manner by involving all social work professionals. We are so fortunate that both our speakers today have actively contributed in drafting this bill. Dr. Vimla Nadkarni has been the co-convener and Dr. Helen Joseph, a member of the working group, and we look forward for their insightful views and thoughts on this theme, which will help each one of us present here to move forward, safeguard our profession, and give our best. I want to end with the words of Desmond Tutu, who said, we think of ourselves far too frequently as just individuals, separated from one another, whereas you are connected and you do affect the whole world. When you do well, it spreads out, it is the whole of humanity. Ubuntu is a reminder that no one is an island. Every single thing that we do, good or bad, affects our family, friends, and society. It also reminds us that we need to think twice about the choices we want to make and the kind of impact they may have on others. Let us all strive to work together to bring about a difference in the lives of people and in the society. Thank you. I would like to now introduce our moderator for this session, Dr. Nilima Mehta, who will be taking forward the proceedings of today's webinar. Dr. Nilima Mehta has been associated with the field of child protection for over 40 years, both as a practitioner as well as a consultant in the area of national and state level policy development, review of legislations, research and trainings in the domain of juvenile justice. She has been a consultant with several organizations like UNICEF, Childline, CRY, FSC, IAPA, Vatsalya, and Leher. As an academic, Dr. Nilima has been a chair professor at the TISS and a visiting faculty member for over 30 years at the College of Social Work, Nirmala Niketan, TISS, and the SNDT College. Dr. Nilima has been the president of BATSW and currently serves on the Academic Council and IRB of the TISS and is an external member of the IQAC and a proud alumnus of College of Social Work, Nirmala Niketan. My sincere thanks to you, Dr. Nilima, for accepting to be the moderator. Over to you, Dr. Nilima.
Nilima, we can't hear you. Please unmute yourself.
Yeah. I'm just beginning, yeah. So thank you, Dr. Lidwin, for these kind words. Most important for me is that I'm here as part of the College of Social Work alumni, and I'm really proud to be an alumnus of the college. So, dear friends, it is an honor and privilege for me to be here today on this special occasion hosted by the College of Social Work, Nirmala Niketan, and the School of Social Work, Roshni Nilayam from Bangalore, to commemorate our day, the Day of World Social Work. The beautiful theme being Ubuntu, I am because we are. Strengthening social solidarity and global connectedness, the core values of our profession. The focus of the panel discussion today is to ideate and deliberate upon the challenges for the way forward of social work education, practice, and the National Council Bill, National Council for Social Work Bill. We are privileged to have this discussion today amongst people who have contributed tremendously to the social work profession and the development of this bill. I would like to set the context for this panel discussion by flagging some key concepts and issues in social work as an academic discipline and as a practice profession with a scientific body of knowledge, attitude, and skills, ethics, values, and principles. We work with people and systems. The key components of this being education, training, and field practicum. When we reflect upon the global definition of the social work profession as practiced in 145 countries of the world, the following key concepts emerge for dialogue and deliberation for the way forward. Social work promotes social change, social cohesion, and development, leading to the empowerment of people. The principles of social justice, human rights, collective responsibility, and respect for diversities are the central themes to the profession of social work. Underpinning these are theories of social sciences, social development, humanities, and indigenous knowledge. Through engaging with people, social structures, and systems, we address the life challenges and enhance the well-being of individuals and society as a whole. The collaborative efforts of the state and civil society organizations, UN agencies, INGOs, the local level of NGOs, at all levels of intervention, macro to macro, and meso and micro, are the key components of our interventions. The need for a statutory mandate was felt by the social work professionals in India to ensure the quality and standards of social work education to contribute to the nation's shared vision of social development. We are privileged to have with us two stalwarts who have contributed to this development of the bill. We have Dr. Vimla Nadkarni, who is the working coordinator and co-convener of this group, and Dr. Helen Joseph, who is a member of the working group. I now invite Professor Vimla Nadkarni to address us, and I'm privileged to introduce her first. Welcome, Dr. Vimla. I will briefly introduce Vimla Nadkarni. Quite a privilege for me to introduce Dr. Vimla Nadkarni, whom I have known since 1974. I don't know if she remembers that. At the KEM hospital was the first time that I met her as a bachelor's in social work student from the College of Social Work. Ever since then, she's been a dear friend, someone that I have worked with, and someone that I have great regards for. Welcome, Dr. Vimla. So Dr. Vimla Nadkarni was president of the International Association of Schools of Social Work from 2012 to 2016. She retired as a professor, School of Social Work, Tata Institute of Social Sciences in 2013, having worked extensively in the domain of social work for 42 years. As chair of the Center for Enhancement of Quality in Social Work Education at TISS, she set up the National Network of Schools of Social Work in India, which led to the formation of the Indian Association for Social Work Education. She served both as president and vice president of the Bombay Association of Trained Social Workers. She was also vice president of the Association of Schools of Social Work in India. Dr. Nadkarni was the founder dean of the School of Social Work, and before joining TISS, she had worked as a lecturer at the College of Social Work, Nirmala Niketan, from 1976 to 1984. Her international awards include the Fulbright and Kellogg's Fellowships. Her edited book, NGOs, Health and the Urban Poor, was published in 2009, and she has guest edited special issues of social work education in India. Dr. Nadkarni has initiated several field action projects and which integrated rural health and development projects, which started in 1986 and continues at the TISS. She's currently the co-convener of the campaign for the National Council for Social Work Education Bill 2021. Welcome you, Dr. Vimla Nadkarni. Pleasure to have you and honor to listen to you. Thank you. Take it.
Thank you so much, Nilima, my good friend and colleague. And of course, I would say even, I think it has been a mutual learning process with you. And I do admire you and your work a lot. Thank you, Dr. Lidwin and Dr. Juliet Joseph for inviting me to be part of this program. I'm very proud that the World Social Work Day is being celebrated in our country. Several universities and colleges have taken the initiative and organized several webinars. I just wanted to clarify with you that though the World Social Work Day did emerge through the International Federation of Social Workers, it has also become an important event in the UN. in New York, Geneva, Bangkok, and also in African region. So through the International Association of Schools of Social Work, in collaboration with the IFSW and the International Council of Social Welfare, we have been celebrating these days in the month of March. I also want to, I'm happy, it's unfortunate I cannot see my colleagues, my faculty colleagues in College of Social Work, Nirmala Niketan, but I thought Hazel Dilima was here somewhere. Geeta Balakrishnan also. Prabha Tirmare. Hello, Hazel. I'm so glad to see you.
We're all here.
You're all here, Geeta. Hi. I feel so good to see all of you wonderful people. And you have to give me a little time to share the screen, share my PowerPoint with you.
If you want, I can also help you, ma'am.
Yes. Well, I thought, okay, why don't you do it?
Yes.
You
I'm
have the
ready.
latest, you have my latest version.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, Sandesh, please do it. I think that'll be easier. I will be talking about the challenges for social work education with focus on the pandemic. I think we are all aware that social work itself as a profession has had many challenges, has experienced many challenges all over the world and in our country especially. Of course, in the next presentation, which Helen Joseph will provide, she will be giving you a brief history of how we have struggled to, get statutory recognition for the social work profession. My focus on social work education is where I look at the problems, the challenges, but also the opportunities that we are experiencing even during the period of the pandemic. So while it will seem very, very negative throughout, I think that I will also be providing some positive images of some social work interventions that have happened during the pandemic and what are the possibilities for us to rethink, to re-innovate, to review social work education. Because the pandemic this time has been different from other disasters. And we have experienced, it has happened so suddenly and unexpected. Of course, like many disasters have happened. I mean, if you look at the earthquake in Latur in Maharashtra, that was also a sudden thing. Or if you think of the Bhopal gas tragedy, that was also sudden. But the pandemic has really impinged on lives of all of us around the globe. So in that sense, it is a very unusual disaster. And the World Social Work Day has to address, or the social work has to address the issues arising from the pandemic. Can I go to the next slide, please? Yeah, I wanted to quote Vishanti Supol. She is a friend and colleague from the International Association of Schools of Social Work. She's an international scholar from South Africa and, has written a lot of books. And this is her latest biography. And I would like to quote her because she gave the speech at the UN in Geneva. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. There's something coming in the middle. Sandesh, can you go back? Yeah, no, there's something. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay, it's coming back again. Anyway, I will not repeat what Dr. Lidwin said about Ubuntu. And that it was popularized by Nelson Mandela and Desmond Tutu, who demonstrated in very tangible ways how love, care, compassion, kindness, and forgiveness can be transformed into broad socio-political forces. Next, please. Next slide. Ubuntu asserts, I am because we are. It embraces a we-centeredness where we accord the unique other that priority assigned to the self. To be responsible means to make oneself available in service of the other in such a way that one's own life is intrinsically linked with that of others. Ubuntu recognizes the interdependencies among us as human beings, between people and all other species, and between people and the environment. So we are looking at the collectiveness, the cohesion, not only between people, but also respect for our planet, for the environment. Next, please. Next slide. And Vishanti continues, she quoted the UNDP report, which is the 2020 report, The Next Frontier, Human Development and Anthropocene. Previous one, please. Humans, I don't know why this. Humans have achieved incredible things, but we have taken the earth to the brink. Climate change, rupturing inequalities, record numbers of people forced from their homes by conflict and crisis. These are the results of societies that value what they measure instead of measuring what they value. And this accords with our critiques of neoliberal capitalism, new public management, and science of the logical positivist tradition. The carbon and material footprint of the people who have more denies opportunities for people who have less. End quote. Next, please. So I will be talking about the major challenges that are affecting India since the pandemic. Like I said, these challenges you're already aware of. They are not new, but they have got exaggerated or aggravated because of the pandemic. We have social and economic inequalities that not only continue, but they have got much more exaggerated. And I'm sure you are all aware of what happened right in the beginning of the pandemic when there was a lockdown, how migrants, had to move away from their work. They lost their jobs and they walked thousands of kilometers to go back to their villages. They lost their housing in the cities, whatever little coolies they used to live in with the other workers, and they were in a very bad condition. The lockdown happened so suddenly, the government had not anticipated many of these problems. So the people in the poorest ranking of our society were the most affected. And issues of caste, gender, tribe, religion, regional divisions increased. They have increased. The pandemic has threatened our lives to such an extent that people, like I said, people have lost income. There's been starvation and a lot of discrimination, because people who even went back, the migrants who went back to the villages were often not allowed to enter their villages because they were told, you're infected, you stay out, stay in quarantine. The other challenge that India had to face was how to reach these informal labor people with benefits. So government had started certain social protection measures, but the issue was that they had dispersed, so back to their villages, how to reach them with these services. Then the challenge of healthcare, because that is what we needed immediately. With only 0.8 doctors per 1,000 population, there was not enough, health institutions or staff to look after the people. On top of that, there were also natural disasters during that time, during this entire period of the lockdown. Next, please. And people were living in short-term shelters. It was very unfortunate that there was decreased demand of health insurance and programs. So other programs, regular programs like vaccination of children was affected. We are also seeing that the development goals that as part of the agenda for 2030, like poverty, hunger, health, decent work, all this has got affected, which cover people, planet, posterity, all these different components of our life and our relationships, the inclusiveness, the idea of reaching to the last person, all of that has got affected. And also further exposure in governance and institution, and systemic inadequacies. In fact, I want to give you an example of what is happening. I was recently attending a program of Jamia Millia College in collaboration with one of the resource people in Nepal. And she said that the social workers and CSOs were working so hard to stop child marriages. And now because of the lockdown, because of the pandemic, there is a resurgence of child marriages and children are being given away to older people for marriage and families are breaking up and children are being abandoned. Next, please. Next slide. So these are all reflective of challenges for social work. Like I said, that the magnitude of COVID and the impact on humanity has been different from other pandemics. Fault lines have become exposed. And I gave examples of the health service delivery system, issues of migration, problems of food security, effects on gender perspective, all that has got affected. So all the work that we may have done so far to educate people, to sensitize people, to mainstream gender, all that has gone for a toss. We also have had programs for at least 20, 30 years on issues of domestic violence against women and children, but you see a resurgence of these problems because the men are out of work, they are at home, they don't have money to drink, so the women become more vulnerable also as carers. They are the main carers within the house. Children are forced to remain at home. So can you imagine the dynamics within the family, and especially in the low middle class and the poorer sections of society, or even among the middle class, where the homes are not very large, people don't have their space, and they are forced to be with each other. They are forced to live with each other for 24 hours. So there's extra pressure on women. There has been extra pressure on women to give up their jobs and continue as caregivers, and women workforce numbers have fallen. However, the positive aspect has been that there's been about 34% increase of home-based work, mainly among middle-class women in urban areas. Next, please. Next, please. Next slide. Hello. I'm so sorry, but that's why I wanted to sort of, Sandesh, you can hear me? I hope so. Anyway,
Yes,
this is
ma'am,
just
I
an,
have changed.
yeah, Sandesh, when I'm telling you to change, please change immediately because I'm worried about the time also.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
I'm so sorry to put pressure on you, Sandesh.
No problem.
This is just an example of how benefits are not reaching the poor Indian women. This is based on a Yale study, and 53% of women have been excluded from cash relief, and 21% have been excluded from aid tied to the ration card. Next, please. So what are the opportunities? There are a lot of opportunities for interventions that during this pandemic, and some examples are related to educating people about the problem, creating awareness, dispelling myths, coordinating with government agencies for material help, also for linking the people with the programs that the government has, the benefits that the government is providing, the cash relief that the government is providing, the insurance programs, and also the supplies to the population, as well as for testing and contact tracing, helplines and hotlines, and counseling for those diagnosed with COVID-19 and their family. Next. So I've just taken these 3-4 examples of how social workers have intervened through NGOs or through civil society organizations. I think there are 3 examples. One is of Yuva. I think you all may all be familiar with Yuva, which is the Youth for Unity and Voluntary Action. The other is Childline. And I've also taken the example of National Service Scheme because our social work faculty have been involved with them in providing guidance for intervention during the pandemic. Next, I'll just take each one and illustrate what they have done so far. The Yuva strategy has been to locate relief work and associated advocacy within the Right to Life framework. So provide relief and support to protect the dignity of people in distress in partnership with local groups and people's collectives, ensure access to state-provided entitlements, and ensure people's agency in the access of rights. And this is just an example of one of the workers who is taking a survey, and what people they are saying about their loss of income and their problems of food security, like a street vendor saying, I have enough savings to last a house for the next week, but what after that? This is in the beginning of the lockdown. Next, please. So Yuva's strategy has included rapid needs assessment and ongoing research. They have brought out a very good report, which was published in August 2020, Living with Multiple Vulnerabilities, Impact of COVID-19 on the Urban Poor and the Mumbai Metropolitan Region. And it is available on their website. Together We Can campaign. So working together with other organizations to provide relief to the people, to the most marginalized families, advocacy and lobbying with the government. In fact, they have been quite effective in pressurizing the government to provide relief, especially for the mobile populations. And use of social media articles and papers, online sites, etc. Next, please. Next. Childline, I think you are all aware that Childline has this helpline, and they have made, since March 20th, there were more than 2.75 million calls and more than 200,000 interventions where frontline workers have reached the location of a child to provide assistance to or rescue a child from distress. They've also been working with the district administration, with different stakeholders or target systems to influence them to disseminate information. So with child protection bodies, health department, law enforcement, civil society networks, also distributing material help and extending emergency relief and rescue for children and families, and also providing counseling and psychosocial support. They have developed a manual for parents and caregivers in collaboration with UNICEF on psychosocial support for children during COVID-19. Next, please. Outreach by NSS volunteers, can you imagine the huge numbers of NSS volunteers available through colleges? And this is just an example from Maharashtra, okay, where a faculty from Maharashtra who was managing the NSS students through his university. And these are the services they were providing, supporting the local administration to distribute food, medicine, mask, sanitizer, providing services at short shelter homes, sanitizing villages. And this was in the beginning of the lockdown, beginning of the pandemic, also making masks and free distribution in collaboration with UNICEF, and providing food packets to displaced persons, especially in forest reserves. So these are the kind of services, the training that was provided to NSS so that they could, support the people during this period of the pandemic. Next, please.
Vimla, could we look at the time, please?
Yeah, you please tell me how much time.
Maybe 5 more minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah, I'll just summarize quickly.
Sure. Thank you.
So I think that we have to look at social work education, reposition it on all the issues like I discussed earlier of inequality, fighting for a paradigm shift. I think what we are facing now is that how do we go to the field? And I'm sure that students have that kind of anxiety. Parents don't want their children to go into the field because they are worried that, the infection, they will get infected. So that is an issue that many of the colleges have to face. But interestingly, the civil society organizations, the NGOs, the frontline workers have started going to the field. Like I am associated with Nirmaya Health Foundation, and the community health workers are going into the field. Of course, they have to take strict precautions of wearing their mask, the sanitizer, etc., etc. So that is something that we are, I'm sure all colleges are struggling with and about. Next, please. So, and social workers to take responsibility. I mean, I'm not sure how long we can keep away from the community. We have to be involved with the community. So we need an exchange of experiences. We also need to document. Next, please. We also need to document the behaviors of people during this pandemic. We also need to do more research, maybe through, it could be through online surveys, or actually now Yuva sent its workers during the pandemic for serving the community, the vulnerable community. So also we need to hasten our learning in digital technology. I think all colleges, faculty, have to now communicate online with students, the client system, other stakeholders. How do we do counseling? How do we do group work? How do we provide emotional support? Also maintain ethical boundaries. If we are doing research online, how do we maintain ethical boundaries? These are all the issues that we have to deal with. Next, please. And we need multidisciplinary work. We cannot work alone. We have to work with other professionals and other people, the health system and the government and civil society and the corporate sector. Next, and of course, ensure that the state continues to support and not give up its responsibility. So just to summarize, strengthen education and practice in disaster management, link people with government programs and resources, build evidence through rapid needs assessment, ongoing research. Digital literacy is important, documentation and dissemination of data and people's voices through social media. Strengthen community organization, social action, counseling, networking, advocacy, policy development, and the new areas of learning of how to work with displaced people in wildlife protected zones, migrant workers, gypsies, and other mobile indigenous people. I think I'll stop here. Thank you very much.
Dr. Vimla Nadkarni, what a comprehensive document that you have. And
Nilima, we can't hear you. Hello.
yeah, it was centralized muted. Okay. So thank you very much, Dr. Vimla Nadkarni, for such a comprehensive sharing about the problems, challenges, and opportunities for us in the profession of social work. And we really look forward to further question and answers from our participants to deliberate upon the way forward. I now invite Dr. Helen Joseph, again, a very dear friend, and most importantly, a co-classmate at the Bachelor's in Social Work in 1972. So our relationship and friendship goes back to a long, long time. So welcome, Dr. Helen Joseph. We look forward to hearing you. I'm going to now introduce Helen, my dear friend. Okay, so Dr. Helen Joseph completed her bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degree in social work from the College of Social Work, Nirmala Niketan, University of Bombay, and her MPhil in Public Administration from the MS University, Baroda. After doing her coursework for PhD in social work from the University of Chicago, she joined the College of Social Work, Nirmala Niketan as a faculty member and retired from there in 2013 as a professor. Professor Joseph was the founder director of the Field Action Project Saloka, which worked on the issues of communal harmony, and she was appointed as link coordinator by the British Council for its higher education link program with the University of Bristol, UK. She was instrumental in initiating an online course on peace education with the Tokyo University of Foreign Studies, Japan, thereby connecting with universities from South Asian countries like Sri Lanka, Cambodia, and Indonesia. Professor Joseph has conducted a number of research studies and has published a number of articles in national and international journals in the area of social work education. Helen has also served on the Board of Studies in Social Work in the Bombay University, TISS, SMBT University, and the Amity University. Dr. Helen is a member of the drafting committee and working group proposing for a bill for a National Council for Social Work Education in India. Currently, Professor Joseph is a president of Arohan, a voluntary organization working on sustainable development. She's a consultant to Creative Handicrafts and is the chairperson of the Yuva Urban Initiative. Helen is a regular guest lecturer for Tokyo University of Foreign Studies for its online program on peace and conflict studies. We are very happy to have you with us, Dr. Helen Joseph, and over to you. You need to unmute.
Yes, I'll unmute. Thank you so much, Nilima. In fact, at the outset, I would like to say that I am extremely, extremely happy to be at my alma mater, though of course only virtually. And Roshni Nilaya has been an extended family to us, because I can see, you know, the principal, not the principal, but but Evelyn and so many others from Nirmal Niketan have gone there. So it is like a big, big family to me. And I've enjoyed my association with Nirmal Niketan for many years. I'm very, very happy to know that Hazel de Lima is there. Hi, Hazel. And also Geeta and Prabha, Elvis, Ronald. These are all my friends and colleagues from Nirmal Niketan.
Hi, Helen.
I feel so good to be. It's like being home. So thank you very much for there. Prabha and Anita are also there, and all the others who are hiding behind the screen. Hi to all of you.
They were asked to mute, that's why.
Okay, no problem. So I think maybe I will start off with the presentation right away so that we don't spend too much time. I'll just share screen, okay? Can you see it?
Yes, Helen, we can see.
Okay. I'm just trying to get this. There is the current slide here. Here? No, this has to be. I don't know how to go to the.
Ma'am, slideshow.
I know slideshow, but you know, the other, the panel is coming on top, and so therefore I'm not able to get that out.
Animation.
No, what I'm saying is this, there is some other panel which is stopping.
Yeah.
The top, yeah, that is why. Maybe you can.
Helen, just check bottom right hand corner.
Okay, acha, this one.
There'll be,
that is.
Helen, minimize your Zoom.
There'll be slideshow there, bottom right hand corner.
Yeah, there is a minimization of that. Should I minimize it?
Yes.
No, bottom right here. Not that, this one.
Can I share this?
Okay, is that it? No.
Ma'am, can I share this?
Yeah. Okay, can you share?
Yes.
All right.
Ma'am, please stop share from your side.
Okay. Pause share. All right. Sorry, all these technology is a little. I mean, there was a panel that was covering that whole thing, which I couldn't get to. Okay. All right. Can I start?
Yes, Helen.
Yes.
Helen, please do.
All right. As Vimla mentioned earlier, this has been a very, very long journey actually that I was involved in, and I'm sure, you know, quite a few of you have been involved, definitely Nilima and Vimla too, because we were part of the BATSW, you know, either working as president or secretary or a member. And, you know, much before that, of course, this whole idea about the council you know, came into our minds. Before it, of course, came to our minds, it was already there as far as what the UGC wanted. And there were these recommendations that were made, which I will talk to you about. But as BATSW also, we spend a lot of time, you know, discussing and deliberating on this National Council of Social Work Education Bill. Of course, initially it was not the National Council for Social Work Education Bill. It was just a National Council for Social Work. But things have changed over time, and I will tell you, you know, the history. So next slide, please. What I will be discussing would be just the highlights about why the Professional Council, you know, the background of the Social Work Council, the working group members, the phases, that we went through, etc. And I won't go through the entire contents. Next. Some of you probably will ask us, why do we need the council? Is it necessary to have a council? Or is it just because, everybody is having a council and we must have a council? Definitely not. A council is a body that will help enhance social work education and maintain a standard that all of us will be proud of and all of us will grow from. So that is the reason why we felt that a council is important. Today, social work is not recognized as a profession, and the UGC does not recognize it as a profession. And many of our students, can't get scholarships for professional education. There are scholarships that are available, and it is not available to our students. So, and to set standards, it is important for us to have a council, and that is the reason why we felt that we need to do something about it. Next. What is the background of the Social Work Council? The first, as we all, some of you would know, that we had two review committees, the first and the second review committee of social work education that was sponsored by the UGC. They had recommended a National Council for Social Work Education. Later on, there were many associations, schools of social work, social work associations that had worked on a draft bill. Okay, some of them are highlighted here, like the National Council. It's not very clear there, but I'll just look at the National Council of Professional Social Work in India Bill 1993, which was one of the first ones. Then the National Council of Professional Social Work in India Bill 2007. Then the bill that the Maharashtra Council of Professional Social Workers worked out in 2015, and the National Council of Professional Social Work Practitioners Bill in 2018. Of course, besides these, there were many other states too, like Kerala and other states that had worked on a draft bill. The impetus today, for bringing this council up again for discussion came when Niti Aayog organized a meeting of social work educators on July 14th, 2020, where they wanted inputs and suggestions to establish a national council for social work. And all of us, quite a few of us, were very, very excited about the whole, the whole thing. Felt that this is the time for social workers to come together and do something to push this bill. Because, it has been lying dormant, though many of us have thought about it, it was lying dormant for a long time. And it was necessary for us to give it that push. And when this opportunity came about, we said, why not work on it? And though we were not officially called to work on a draft bill, some of us volunteered, and we decided that what may, we will at least prepare ourselves so that we are not caught napping. Next. So we formed ourselves into a small working group. The working group members are here. Vimla Nadkarni was the working group coordinator. We had advisors with us, Professor Armaiti Desai, late Professor R.R. Singh, who was with us till the end. I think it was very, very sad to lose him because he provided a lot of, sound advice to the working group. Professor Gandhi Das, Professor Sanjay Bhatt, and the drafting committee that comprised of Dr. Murli Desai, Dr. Devi Prasad, myself, and Dr. Shivli. Next. What we must understand is that, this draft bill that was initiated by this working group started, as I said, as a National Council for Social Work, that is both education and practice. Okay, and the draft bill was, disseminated. It went on with a number of professional social work associations, institutions of social work education, student groups, research fellows. All of them were involved in a consultation. In many, we had a number of consultation webinars for all these different groups, educators, practitioners, students, alumni associations. And so therefore, we must say that the feedback that we received from these webinars were extremely useful. It was extremely useful, and it facilitated us in redrafting the bill, which we today call National Council for Social Work Education. This is a landmark bill for a professional council because it is based on maximum consultation. I really doubt whether there is any professional council that has had such wide consultation. Next. What are the objectives? What are the objectives of this National Council? One of them is definitely to formulate and update a curriculum framework. Now, we cannot have a curriculum that is same, throughout the country. All of us know that what is
Helen, are you there? Helen, are you with us? We'll wait for Dr. Helen Joseph to connect with us. Excuse the break. We are waiting for Dr. Helen Joseph to connect with us.
Can we call and find out how she can be connected again?
Yeah, she is joining. She is joining through her phone.
Apologies.
Hello, Nilima.
Yeah, I was just wondering whether to read the slides or.
Do you want me to do it on behalf till she comes back?
Yes, please.
I'm trying to call her. I'm trying to call her, but
hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, Helen, continue.
Okay, great. I'm sorry about this.
We'll continue with the objects and
yes.
keeping the time frame in mind. Helen, let's keep the time frame in mind. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, Helen is there. Okay, good.
Yeah. Okay, so with regard to the objectives of one thing is to formulate and update a curriculum framework in the context of changing socioeconomic realities, because we know in India, the North is different from the South, the East is different from the Northeast and the West. And so it is important to only work out a framework. Another objective is to carry out accreditation of social work education and programs, to register professional social workers and social work programs, and also to develop and update code of ethics for promoting self-regulation and ensuring ethical conduct by professional social workers. Another objective is to maintain a database of social work education and practice and professional associations. We do not have enough information. Identify jobs for professional social workers at different levels. Our social workers are skilled in a few, definitely in a few skills. They have certain knowledge base, and there is a lot that they can do, but we need to be recognized. We need to know, people need to know what are the skills that we have so that we would be able to provide them with the kind of jobs that they can do. Also, promote recognition and visibility of social work. Many of us, like, when Vimla presented about what Yuva was doing, what Childline was doing, I mean, many of our social workers are doing excellent work in the field. But how much of this is recognized by the government, by the people? Today, even Childline, they're saying that, well, the first line of contact should be the policeman. So, I mean, we need to really put our foot down. We really need to do something about some of the things that are happening around us. We need to be taken into consideration and recognized. Another objective is to promote social work research, knowledge development, which is very, very essential because indigenous literature is highly lacking in social work. Promote continuing education programs. Somehow colleges of social work are able to, they have their refresher courses and things like that through the UGC. But as far as, practitioners are concerned, there is no definite, continuing education that they are asked to do. Then, in terms of, contributing to policy formulation, building a greater synergy between social work practitioners and social work educators, and also to strengthen collaborations and networks with civil society organizations. So these are the objectives of the council. Next. I've completed with the objectives. So that, the council, has an administrative kind of entity. It was recommended that the Constitution of the National Council should have some kind of a structure. And so therefore, we have suggested that there be a chairperson who will be a social work educator, a vice chairperson who will be a full-time social work practitioner, and have a number of honorary members. Now, who are these honorary members? Elected directors who will be social work educators from the 6 zones. So the whole country is divided into 6 zones: North, South, East, West, Northeast, and Central. So from these 6 zones, from each of the states, we will have, elected directors who will be social work educators, deputy directors who will be social work practitioners, 1 representative from the national level social work association, and 4 ex officio government of India representatives, 4 members from, the Ministry of Education, Niti Aayog, UGC, NARC, and at least 4 representatives from cognate ministries, ministries that are related or connected with social work in some way or the other, like social justice and empowerment, women and child, rural development, tribal development, home affairs, housing, climate change, corporate affairs, etc. Next, I'll just give you, this is, if you really look at the constitution, the administrative structure, you will realize that we have included both practitioners and education. Though the bill is mainly for social work education, we have included we have included in equal measure, I can see practitioners too, because we believe that practitioners bring in a lot of insight. They bring in a lot of wisdom to our, to education, and education in many ways supports practice. And therefore, we feel that though the social work education bill is what we are talking about, there is need for practitioners to contribute to this council. The zonal councils, for this we have, this is for the purpose of decentralization. The National Council shall conduct elections for a director, a deputy director, and 2 members from each state and union territory of the zone to continue the 6 zonal councils for social work education. And then, of course, there will be registration with the National Council, which is the basic, registration with the council is the basic requirement, for to be on the National Council. Next slide, please. In the council will also be expert panels, and these are for various duties of the council. an expert council, which is there for minimum standards, who will work out minimum standards of social work education, an expert panel for curriculum framework, to work out a curriculum framework, an expert panel for standards on online, open and distance mode of social work education. Now, many of us, even during the webinar, some of them said that, why do we have something in distance education? Because online education, distance education for social work is not something that should be encouraged, because field work is not possible. But we need to be in touch with what is happening world over. It is a reality today that we need to have open and distance mode of education. And the best thing for us to do is to try and make it viable. Try and see how social work, field work experiences can be offered, even though if it is an online or a distance mode. Then there would be panels for continuing education, to develop code of ethics, for social work research and knowledge development, for human resource planning, a panel for analysis and advocacy for social policies, a panel for development of field action projects, because many social work colleges, especially, do not understand the whole concept of having field action projects. And so therefore, there is a benefit for colleges who are doing extremely well in the field, having field action projects, for them to handhold the other colleges who probably are lagging behind in this field. Then, of course, expert panel on linking of the council with the new education policy, and also the expert panel that the council may decide to, any other expert panel that the council may decide to have. So this is as far as the expert panel is concerned. Then the whole thing about Professional Social Work Information Center. It is important.
Helen, sorry to interrupt. May we try to wind up in 5 minutes, please? Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Well, Information Center is another aspect that the Social Work, the Social Work Council Bill is planning to have. Next, please. Next. And to have collaborations and partnerships. And these collaborations and partnerships are with the government on the one hand, with social work associations on the other hand, with international agencies like the UN and the others on the other hand, and national institutes of social defense, etc. So we are interested in the council to collaborate with all stakeholders that means something to the social work profession. Next. Next. Now there are a number of questions. Why is it that one of the questions is social workers without social work qualifications, do they have to stop working as social workers, and do they have to take a degree in social work before they work? No, we do not believe that they cannot, because the field of social work is vast. Everybody can actually be part of the social work that is being done in the country. We have actually, in fact, our existence comes from the voluntary work that was done by voluntary social workers. So if we are not saying ever that, social workers, other than professional social workers, cannot be part of, the social work in India. What we are only saying is that professional social workers, we would like them to register. It is not compulsory, but we would like them to register. But definitely social work, educational institutions, we believe that they need to be part of the National Council and should register. The reason, the next, I think I'll skip the FAQs because next. Now we have entered into the second phase because we have now drafted this National Council Bill for Education, and we have submitted it to the Honorable Prime Minister and also to a number of ministries like the Ministry of Education, Niti Aayog, UGC, and all of them. We are expecting some feedback from them. We are hoping that they would, take this up in the parliament and try and see that it becomes an act. But by just submitting this to the Honorable Prime Minister is not enough. It is important that we work hard to see that there are lots of voices going to the Prime Minister, to different ministries, to different MLAs who will raise issues in the parliament and, literally make them, think about having a social work council. So this is our second phase, and we are hoping that so many colleges now, let us go to the next slide, please. The first group, let's see, where is it? It's all, I can't really read on my, anyway, so now we have a working group, which is more, what should I say? It has been expanded, and the names of the members of the working group are there. So I will not, go through that. Can we go to the next slide, please? Now, what is the plan for phase 2? What we plan to do in phase 2 is to do advocacy and awareness campaigns at the national and zonal levels. We plan to have zonal committees, and now we have a West Zone. Nirmala Niketan is part of the West Zone. Roshni Nilaya probably would be part of the South Zone. I hope you have been part of the South Zone. If you are not, maybe we could put you in touch with people in the South Zone, and they would be very willing to have you there. So that is an important thing for us to do. We have formed ourselves into zonal committees, and the working group is now, having regular meetings. We are having regular meetings to take, feedback, to find out what is happening in each of these zones. And we are hoping, because many students have got involved in this, many teachers have got involved in this. Even Jalinder Adsule in Dhule, he has, got many of his professors, and because he's from the North Maharashtra University, he has got many of the principals of the university, of the colleges in the university, to write to MLAs to push for a national council bill. We are also drafting letters. We have already drafted letters so that they can write personally. The MLAs and MPs can write personally to the members of parliament and to the Prime Minister, so that there is some kind of a pressure that is built so that they take this up seriously. So this is what we are doing. And as I said, Nirmala Niketan is part of the West Zone, and we have to be active. We are active. In fact, I think the South Zone and the West Zone currently are the most active. But we need to remain active, and we need to push this so that we can see that the bill becomes an act soon. Thank you. I'm sorry I rushed like this. Sorry. Thank you.
Nilima, can I just add?
Yes.
Helen,
yes.
We have also Awaaz.org.
Yes.
Through Awaaz. Helen, you want to?
No. You can say that.
We've sent a letter, an advocacy letter through Awaaz.org, and we have received so far 1,300 signatures, but we wanted many more signatures.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Wonderful, Dr. Vimla and Dr. Helen Joseph, for such a comprehensive overview of the way forward and challenges for professional social workers, as well as the key components of the national bill and what are the strategies to take it forward. I would like to open this up now for Q&As, either from the chat box or people who would like to unmute themselves and ask questions. Please feel free to ask. We have 10 minutes for discussion, and then we will take it forward. Any questions that somebody would like to ask or share? Comments? I have one question that somebody has shared independently, which says that the bill began as a social work practice and education bill, and then has moved to become the education bill. So what were some of the deliberations that happened in order to choose this way forward?
Okay. The reason why the thing is, the field of social work is really, really large. And on the one hand, we have professional social workers who are in the field. And on the other, there were practitioners who were not professional social workers, one. The other thing is that we had, among the professional social workers, there were activists, there were people who were involved with movements, and many of them felt that a national council, because it's in a way, a government kind of linked council, it could create problems and we would not be able to challenge the government. You understand? There are lots of issues that come up with organizations like, movements and, social activists. When they raise issues, they're raising it against the government, and these could be, these could create problems. And we felt, instead of getting bound by this kind of dilemma and debate about, how do we try and make it inclusive and get all practitioners also involved, we said, let us start with education. Let us start, not only start, but, probably if there is a council for social work education, we improve and update education, probably, and most probably, practice would take care of itself and practice would be better. It would be enhanced. And that is the reason why we said, let us not, be disheartened and close shop and say, well, we can't come to a decision, so let's close it. No, we said, let us start off with education. And if education is good, if the whole thing about ethics, values, curriculum is taken care of, definitely it will have its impact on practice too.
Perfect.
That is the reason why.
Thank you for your response, Helen. I hope that answers the query of the person who is asking. And I think it's very clear at this stage of the bill. I think it's appropriate for us to focus on the aspect that you talked about. Thank you very much, Helen. Dr. Vimla, is there anything you would like to add? Anybody has any comments to make?
I think Prabha has raised a question. Prabha Tirmare has raised a question about Bharatiya Karan.
Oh.
Okay, let me just read what she has written on the chat. Some impressions, well-known social work educators are more towards on Bharatiya Karan in the name of indigenous social work. Will this not be against constitution as well as social work values and principles? What could be NCSW council? I mean, it sounds incomplete. Is Prabha there? Does she want to add anything? Okay.
Yeah, Vimla, you raised it correctly. Last is what will be our stand as a council when there is an impression like everywhere it is talked like Bharatiya Karan. What exactly is a Bharatiya Karan? Whether we understood what is, that is
Karan. We have had lot of responses from Bharatiya Karan group, and as you said that they may be well-known social work educators, but it is a small group that has a certain perspective on indigenizing or Hinduizing social work profession. And I think that our stand is that we are secular. We are not either the Hindu way or the Christian way or Islamic way. We are embracing all ideologies and we are welcoming everybody. So this particular group has really not dialogued with us I would say in a rational way. They have only been sending comments, and in their webinars also, they take a very antagonistic stand, questioning, the fact that, oh, who is this small group? Who are they to create a bill? And it's like trolling. Okay. So we just have to be patient and ignore some of the comments and let people say what they want. But we have to have our specific goal. Our goal we have very clearly put down in the social work education bill, with the objectives, the structure, everything we have put down, very transparent. And in a very participatory way, we have got the whole country involved.
Thank
Okay?
you. Thank you,
So-
Vimla. And Helen, thank you.
Can I say something? See, I just would like to say one thing, that we do definitely believe in indigenization. We believe in Indianization of our experiences and writing about it. But we are not really talking about Hinduization. You understand? When groups of people stand there and say that the only way we can talk about indigenization or Indianization is through Hinduization, that is where the problem comes. So we are, as Vimla very rightly said, that we are secular, and we have our experiences which are very, very different from what is happening in the West or, anywhere else. And so we need to really record that. We really need to theorize. But, and if that is what indigenization means, definitely we are for it, but not, the way the other groups. And there have been many attempts by some of these groups to actually even infiltrate and create problems when we have webinars, etc. So there is this thing happening, but we are not getting discouraged.
Thank you. In the interest of time, may I say 2 questions that are pending, and then we will wind up this much reluctantly, but I think in the interest of time, we'll have to take this call. There are 2 questions. One is, would the council issue license for social work practice? That's one question. And the second question is that what is the position or place for volunteerism and community involvement in this kind of work when we are talking about professional social work and the council? So these are 2 questions that have come. Whoever would like to take them, please.
With regard to licensing, no, we are not licensing. Licensing is compulsory. This is only registration, which is voluntary. Okay, so we are not licensing because, as I said, the field of social work is vast. With regard to volunteerism, everything will remain the same. We would encourage volunteerism, is something that in India and everywhere, all around the world, volunteerism is something that has survived and has worked, so there is no way we are saying no to volunteerism. So there is nothing, no 2 ways about it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I just add here?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
We have expert panels through the council, and these expert panels will be open even for experts among the voluntary organizations to be part of that group. Okay, so that is important. And the second point I want to make is, as the council develops further, it's possible that in future we might think of licensing like many other countries, but at the moment it is open.
Perfect. Thank you for response to these 2 queries. May I conclude this session with a big thank you to both the speakers, and to kind of collate, which is a very difficult task, but I'm going to try it, to see what are the takeaways and what are some of the salient features that happened and we discussed and we deliberated upon in the way forward section. So Dr. Vimla Nadkarni clearly enunciated some of the problem, challenges, and opportunities in the field of social work, and emphasized the we-centeredness and interdependence of key processes and practice in social work. Very important to mobilize a profession for a paradigm shift. I think this was a very critical observation, and which is shared by all of us as a conviction that we really need a paradigm shift in the way we look at our profession, the way we have education and practice to work collective, the quality enhancement in social work education and practice, and contextualize it to the emerging social realities, the Indian social realities, the social systems and structures, so that we are able to be inclusive in our approach to social work practice. We have to review the lens of social work to incorporate the indigenous knowledge and value systems, and the ethical grounds are a very clear guiding principle in the work that we do. The importance of research and documentation in the field of social work to hasten our learning in digital technology. I think that was an important contribution and learning. Collaboration and partnership with stakeholders, the state and civil society organizations. I think it was a very clear that we cannot do it alone, and that we really work together with collaboration and cooperation and partnership with the government and civil society organization. The focus and objectives that Dr. Helen talked on were very, very critical to know that we need to update our curriculum. Accreditation issues have to be handled, registration, code of ethics, the database, job identification, and synergy between education and practice. So strategies for action and way forward is what was shared. And I just would like to conclude that to work collectively towards a coordinated action, for the bill to be an act and the council to be a reality. On that note, we say a big thank you. And I now invite Ms. Evelyn Bennis, who is the head of the department from the School of Social Work, Roshni Nilayam, to take a pledge on social work. And after that, I will invite Dr. Juliet Joseph to give the vote of thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nilima.
Welcome, please.
Yes. I pledge to step out of my area of comfort so I may meet people, listen to their lives, grow and remain open to the full humanity. I pledge to be critical and ask questions in order to cast doubts, inquire and prompt social change and transformation. I shall self-reflect to examine my own biases, clarify my beliefs, and take stands. I shall strive continuously to advance knowledge about people, issues, and social work profession. I pledge to contribute towards turning our institution into genuinely transparent, accountable, and fair communities of action. I promise to defend freedom of expression, to being open always to dialogue and listening. I shall be consciously inclusive towards all people and act to promote diversity, equality, mutual respect, justice, and reconciliation. I give a promise to walk with marginalized, voiceless, and people who have been forced to silence. I promise to myself to engage people and structures to address life challenges and end their will. From this day, I am aware that I am part of a community of change agents. I thus pledge to act ethically, in compassion, with thoughtfulness, conviction, passion, honesty, perseverance, and humility.
Nilima, you have to unmute yourself. Nilima.
I will request. Thank you very much, Ms. Evelyn Bennis, for this pledge. And I'm sure all of us who are here today resonate with this pledge that we have taken, and we look forward to our continued commitment to this pledge. I now invite the co-organizer of this event, Dr. Juliet Joseph, who's the principal of Roshni Nilayam College of Social Work, and to deliver a vote of thanks. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. On this occasion of commemorating the World Social Work Day in a very meaningful way with all of you, dear brothers and sisters in social work, I'm extremely happy to propose this vote of thanks. On behalf of College of Social Work, Nirmala Niketan, and School of Social Work, Roshni Nilaya, I'm glad to thank persons responsible for the effective organization and conduct of this webinar. First and foremost, I deem it my privilege to thank the discussant, Dr. Vimla Nadkarni. Ma'am, I could see in you a social worker who vibes with the most marginalized, the most neglected persons in the society. You have a great love for the profession of social work, and you have instilled in us the desire to reposition social work education on the issues of inequality that is existing today and in the context of the pandemic times. Thank you very much, ma'am, for that enlightening and inspiring message with which we are really going forward with a spark in our hearts. Thank you very much. On this occasion, gratitude also goes to the discussant, Dr. Helen Joseph, who has very clearly given us the outline, the history, the constitution of the national and zonal councils, as well as the need for this council. So we as social workers, we need to go together in order to put this council into effect. So this is what we are carrying with us today from your presentation, ma'am. And so we really thank you for this presentation that has really helped us to move forward again, way forward. Thank you very much. A discussion becomes proficient when we have an efficient and effective moderator. Dr. Nilima Mehta, thank you very much for being a vibrant moderator today in setting the tone for the discussion and also leading it through the twists and turns that can bring clarity and a wider perspective. Thank you very much, Dr. Nilima, for your effective moderation. It was a quite casual conversation with Dr. Lidwin Dice that the idea of organizing a webinar in commemoration of World Social Work Day emerged. A big thanks to Dr. Lidwin Dice, Principal, College of Social Work, Nirmala Niketan, for conceptualizing the theme of this webinar in consultation with experts and for building on it systematically, due to which the webinar is actualized today. A special thanks to Mr. Elvis Thomas, who is the IQAC coordinator of the College of Social Work, Nirmala Niketan, for every detail looked into. I profusely thank our Vice Principal, Dr. Janice Mary, Professor Vinita K, HOD, BSW Department, and our IQAC coordinator, Professor Farida Cecilia Govies, for their wholehearted cooperation. Special thanks to Professor Evelyn Benes for officiating the pledge. Our gratitude goes to the technical team of the College of Social Work, Dr. Donald, Mr. Samir, Mr. Priyadarshan, Mr. Praveen, and Mr. Mukund, and Mr. Sandesh. Thank you very much for your teamwork. Attitude is a little thing that can make a big difference. On behalf of the organizing team, I thank all the participants of this webinar, social work educators and practitioners, staff and students, alumni and well-wishers. Let's come together in strengthening the credibility of social work profession via theory building, highlighting the code of ethics, and strengthening professional organizations and building on our national council. With a spark of way forward, let us move ahead with Ubuntu. I am because we are. I also thank all the former principals, faculty who are present here. Your presence has really made us happier. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. We very proudly close this session, and thank you to the organizers for giving this opportunity and platform for all of us to ideate, share, and deliberate on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Requesting all to please put on your videos so we can have a group photo.
Nice.
It's lovely to see everyone, Dr. Juliet, Evelyn.
Yes.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sandesh.
Thank you, Vimla. Thank you,
Thank you,
Helen.
Lidwin. Thank you, Geeta.
It's really
Nilima,
nice.
great
Nice
job.
to see everyone.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Helen. Thank you, Helen.
Miss Patsy Khan.
Bye.
Thank you very much. It is nice to
Thank
see
you.
all of us.
Yeah.
Thank you to all.
Hey, Hazel, how are you doing, Hazel?
Much better, thank you. But
Oh, wow.
like this revive me
Okay.
because
Yeah.
I think of the old days.
Yes.
So hesitant